Hello, Facebook. This is 5 Days Live. It's Friday. It's the 5th show in the series, and we're here to help you promote your show as I say hello to my good friends. RJ, hello.
Hello.
Annie, hello.
Hello, hello.
Right, okay, so the show's off to a good start. Now, today we're going to be talking about promoting your show because we can all go live on Facebook using BeLive.tv. People might not find us. And what we're going to be talking about is what you can do before your show, during your show, and after your show. So you'll get hints, tips, and tricks on how to improve your visibility when you do go live. And it's all about brand, isn't it? I mean, basically, you are promoting yourself, your brand, and you should not hold back in doing that, RJ.
No, well, it's banging your own drum. It's a little odd sometimes. It's a little, it feels like, I'm really putting myself out there. I'm annoying people. That is something that with some time, with some trial and error, one must get over, because otherwise no one will know about your show, no matter how good it is, no matter how many tips you've taken from us during the week, no matter how good it is, no one will know about it.
Yeah, absolutely true.
It is. Just a minute.
Steven.
I'm back now. This is
back now.
Part of the course. This is part of the course. This is live. Things are going to go wrong. Yeah, so we have some tips and tricks to actually help you. And one of the places we want to start, we're going to cover repurposing, and we're going to cover messenger bots, and we're going to cover a whole range of things. But I'm going to throw Annie into the hot seat and to start talking about repurposing. And first of all, why should we do it?
Yeah, so repurposing, the
why
idea
is it part of everything?
Yeah, so the idea of repurposing is to create the content once and put it on multiple channels. And why you want to do that is because you want people to listen to your content. You want them to hear, read, consume your content. So by going live on Facebook, it's great. You get the attention, the love, the visibility in the feed. But like not everyone's on Facebook at that certain time, or maybe they can't make it. Maybe they're driving, maybe they're out on the road, maybe they want to catch it later. So by doing it live, you get the engagement, the visibility, but then after a day or a couple of days, you're kind of old news on the feed. So by having it live on platforms like the YouTubes and on your blogs, etc., you have it on a platform that's more searchable and more discoverable. And then second reason is you're going to reach people that maybe don't hang out on Facebook, but they'll still enjoy your content in audio format or blog format.
And this is important. Facebook is big. It's very big, but it's not the only place, is it, RJ?
It's not. It really, if you think about it, and I wrote this to you in the notes, Stephen, people's bandwidth is not all that big nowadays. As Ani said, it's on the feed. It's old news very quickly. But for me, it's not even a day that it's old news. It's probably half a day, I'd say. It's just nobody will even see it unless they were looking for the show. And so Facebook's not the only place. It's a wonderful place to go live, but you really have to put yourself out there on multiple channels so that people can, people who are looking for video, go to YouTube. Should you be on YouTube? Yes, you should. Ani's product makes it so you don't have to work hard to make all that happen. So we should talk more about that.
Yeah, and I think I like about going live as a starting point for your content is because it's live. You don't have to edit video. You don't have to you got to prepare your show, prepare your ideas, but that's it. You go live. People know it's live. If there's glitches, hiccups, it's okay. It's live. People understand, but it's more real and there's less kind of work on you, the creator, because you don't have to edit any video later.
And that's the real benefit, is that you can do a lot of things without actually making any alterations to the video. And if we could just talk a bit about repurpose.io and what repurpose.io can do.
So the whole mean, for me, before we even get into the software, I mean, there's kind of three places I tell people at a minimum, the three places you want to put your content. You go live on Facebook. You want to, after the fact, you want to get onto YouTube because the searchability and, YouTube is a powerful search engine, part of Google. You get discovered on YouTube. Blog, you want to have it on your blog, on your home base where you can send people to your own blog to watch a video, to consume content. And a side bonus is you can collect email addresses on your blog, which you can't really do that on other platforms. So it's like YouTube, blog, and the last one, which not a lot of people are doing. People are starting to kind of get this, and I've seen a lot of people do this now. More people do this now, is audio podcast. So by doing your show on video, it's great, fantastic, but someone's got to sit there on their phone or on their desktop and watch you. But if they're on the road, they're driving, then there's some people who love it, like me. I'm an audio guy. I mean, I'm a video guy, but I love consuming content in audio. So I'm going for my walks every morning, driving. I subscribe to shows as audio podcasts. So one kind of thing you can do is take your video and take the audio portion out of it, take your live video you've done after the fact, get the audio out of it, upload it to a podcast host, and basically show up on iTunes and big podcast directories where people can, with a few clicks, just subscribe to you on their mobile devices. And the beauty here is every time you put a new show out there, they get notified on their phone, which is cool. You don't have to say, hey, there's a new episode. The podcast app will download it, say, oh, a new episode by Hani Mourra. Click here to listen. So that is they'll stay on top of all your episodes automatically. So audio podcasts it's like I don't want to say hidden gem, but if you're a live streamer and you're used to video, you're missing a whole opportunity here with audio. And it's not that difficult, especially that's why we created that feature in the repurpose.io, is to help you automate that step from going to video to audio.
I mean, let's talk about for a moment, because if you have a video file and you want to create an audio file from it, you have to download the video from Facebook. You then have to take it across into a converter from MP4 to MP3. Then you've got to upload it to SoundCloud or to where else can we go? Libsyn.
Yeah, Libsyn, or there's several podcast hosts. Yeah, but there's another upload that you have to do.
Yeah, and you've got to do the work of actually stripping the audio out.
Mm-hmm.
So it saves time there. I mean, we'll give you, for instance, this is the 5th show this week, and the first 4 shows are now on YouTube, and I haven't done anything other than press 4 buttons on repurpose.io, and those 4 videos have gone from Facebook with their Facebook photograph, title, description, tags, have all gone from Facebook to YouTube, and all I had to do then was to put them in a playlist, and I can now promote that playlist and the whole 5 days live series on Twitter, back onto Facebook, on Instagram, on Pinterest. In fact, anywhere you can actually promote those videos will find a new life long after this show is finished. And that, because you're actually letting people see your content outside of Facebook, you're actually building a new audience. And that's when you can actually then go live on Twitch and do all sorts of things.
Yeah. No, it's a good point. You're building a new audience that wouldn't have never found you if you just done your live and stopped right there. So that's a great point about building new audiences.
Indeed. And just as a sidebar for the moment, if you do comment on the show, and please do, the first time you comment, you'll get a reply. RJ and I are testing something today, and you'll get a reply which will look something like this. It's only for your first message, but we did want to say thank you for actually watching the shows this week. And that will go out to everybody who actually watches the show today, providing you comment. And RJ and I will be talking about Autoresponder Bot in our show next Wednesday at 12 p.m. Eastern. Now, the other side of this repurposing is also messenger bots. RJ, I'm going to ask you a ballpark question, and you can answer it any way you like, and we'll move the conversation forward.
Interpretive dance. Can I do that?
Sorry?
Interpretive dance. I'm just kidding you.
It's okay. We're
You
good.
don't want to see that.
Right. How can messenger bots help in promotion?
Messenger bots can help in that you speak to your audience. If you're Steven, like you live stream every single day, okay. Most of us do, once a week, twice a week, maybe 3 times. The bots can help you stay connected with your audience and keep them engaged when you're not on the air. It can help you get to know your audience. What are their likes and dislikes? What would they like to see on the show? Maybe one of them would be a really great guest on your show. Most of the time, we kind of have this mentality that bigger is better, more listeners, without ever really looking at, what does that actually mean, more listeners? Is there a real difference to a show that I would do for 10 people versus a show I would do for 100 people? Not really. I mean, it's the same show, but I want to reach out. If I had the power of reach out and touch someone to all of my audience members, what would that look like? And to me, that is something that I can easily do with a messenger bot. I can not only remind them, hey, the show's coming up, because as we said, people have low bandwidth, but I can also talk to them after the show, talk to folks, see what they liked and disliked about the show, if anything, and just engage them. What's going on in their lives? We talk about knowing our audience, and we kind of think that that's some marketing research thing that we have to do before we make a show, or some people just skip it entirely. But we tend to think of we need to know our audience this one time in the process, this snapshot before we begin things. No, you know what? If you get a snapshot all the way through, you will build a tribe of loyal viewers, listeners, whatever channel you're on, and your show will do nothing but get better because you will keep doing that that market research piece all throughout your show.
Now, we're hoping we will be giving you several ways that you can actually promote your show. But one of the things that we all have, we've got many things in common, but one of the things we have in common is that behind repurpose.io and behind Black Belt Bots and behind the Live Video Hub is a Facebook group. Now, a question started for 10. Why did you start a Facebook group, and what benefits are there for members of the group and for you as the owner of the group? It's gone quiet. I'll start. No problem. I'm just trying. It's just picking up points that we can actually run with. A Facebook group for me is a way of making personal contact with people and actually keeping front and center. We only broadcast, with exceptions, we only broadcast 1 or 2 hours a week, and I'm saying that tongue in cheek. We only broadcast 1 or 2 hours a week. The groups are the ability to actually keep in contact with everybody on a regular basis, to give daily updates on the systems that we're interested in, on the software that we have, on the new bots that we've created, on the new Udemy courses that we've created, in fact, on everything that we've done. And also, it's an opportunity to listen to what people think about our software or service and to react and to actually getting, well, I'm going to stop there and over to anyone.
Okay. Yeah, I mean, I started the group for repurpose.io users. So when you sign up, you get access to the group. And especially in the beginning, for me, it was just getting, like you said, getting feedback. Like I tell them what's new. But then more importantly, they tell me, all right, can it do this? Can the software do that? Can we do this? Or what tips do you have for repurposing? What tips do you have? What do I do with my Facebook Live? So just a two-way conversation without having to deal with kind of one-on-one emails with people. So it's a group forum. The whole group chimes in with their thoughts. So it's not just me helping the group. It's actually kind of the other way around. The group is helping me by giving me all this feedback. But at the same time, when someone has a question, someone else hops in with an answer. I hop in with an answer. So it's a good way to stay connected with your audience and with the people who are using your software, your service, or listening to your podcast or listening to your live streams. Whoever it is, whoever your audience is, it's a good way to stay connected without kind of taking it to the level where it's extreme and you got to be sending one-on-one emails back and forth, and it's just overwhelming. And when you help one person, I'm sure there's about at least 10 other people in that group that have the same question. So by answering it in a kind of public domain, in a not public domain, but in a domain where people are all interested in that same topic, it's going to help more than one person.
Absolutely. And, that kind of, Hani and Stephen both know it's, you're stretching yourself pretty thin sometimes. And the ability to have other people pop in on a question and getting those things answered, that's really nice. The other thing that I like about my Facebook group is sometimes people ask me a question and I don't know the answer to it, and I get to go research that, and I like that. I like that it stretches me sometimes, the questions that people have, and to me the benefit of being in that group also is when things change, when there's a new update to ManyChat, or when there's a new update to Facebook Messenger, then that's an opportunity for me to get in there and say, hey, by the way, let's do things this way from now on, or there's something brand new you need to know about it. Those videos tend to get watched a lot, and so it's a great way to keep my audience updated on new stuff that's happening. I know they could probably go read it out on the internet, but you know what? If I know about it, they need to know about it. Right. So that's another great thing with groups.
And you made a good point. Like, they get notified. Like, if they're part of the group, you go live or you upload a video or you post something, they get notified. So it's a great way to communicate. Email is great and everything, but open rates are definitely going down these days, and with all these spam rules and spam filters and Gmail, etc. So having kind of a smaller group of like people who want to be there, like they chose to be part of the group and who are interested in what you're talking about, then you can update them on things by just posting in the Facebook group, and they will get notified. So it's a great way to communicate back and forth. And of course, you want to be helpful in the group, whatever group you want to use it as an opportunity. If you have a show or a podcast or any kind of product or service, you want to use it as an opportunity to get feedback. So it's not always you pushing things out. Always take it as an opportunity to take things in, because it benefits you as the group owner.
And feedback's important, isn't it? Because there's nothing that can help more than listening to people who are actually using your bot or using your service.
Yeah. Oh yeah. There've been a lot of the features in our software. Well, Stephen, directly, you've influenced one of the biggest features in the software. It's just, as a user, you've had this situation. How do I make it do this? How do I make it auto but not auto, et cetera, et cetera? And then we kind of found a solution. I think you suggested a solution, and bam, we put it into place. So, I'm a user of my own software, but I don't use it as heavily as my users do. So it's a great way to get feedback for sure.
And there's one thing I've just noticed, and I'll stop doing it. What I try to do for anybody comes in is to actually display your names on screen. But what's happening is when I display your name on screen, it's hiding the logo on your T-shirt. So we can't have that. There was Jeff Adams did a show last night, and his chair was too low. So when he actually put a banner up on screen, I'll put one up now. It was there on his face.
Oh no!
It was covering him up. So we've all done that at some point or other. But getting feedback is awesome, because it's feedback for free, isn't it? It's not audience research. You're actually getting feedback. And a question from Chuck. Okay. All right. Okay. Annie, do people edit their video before they upload it to repurpose? Can you explain what happens? And
yeah, absolutely. So the answer is no. You don't need to edit your video. So the whole idea of repurpose is you connect, what we call a connect. You basically authorize. You press a button to hook up your Facebook account to repurpose. You do the same thing with your YouTube account and your other accounts. But the idea is you can just take an exact episode that you see that you've already gone live, and then you click a button and you say publish. So there's kind of a few levels of editing you can do that's not video editing per se, but one is you can adjust the title and description before it goes to YouTube. You don't have to. We will read the title and description directly from your Facebook Live post. But if, for example, you want to edit it, you have the opportunity to edit, change things up a little bit on the YouTube description before it goes to YouTube. And then 2, we have the ability to add an intro and or an outro. So if you have some kind of little bumper video that you want only to show up on YouTube, kind of like to kind of brand yourself again, so you can upload that to repurpose one time, and then automatically we'll take that intro, add it to your Facebook Live, and then upload that result to YouTube. So besides that, there's not much editing you can do, and I don't feel you need to do editing. I mean, the content is there. I guess the only way, if you want to edit it, is you can have a setup in repurpose where you can send this video, instead of directly to YouTube, you can send it to your Dropbox or Google Drive. Then you can grab it from there, edit the way you want, or someone on your team edit it. Then you can upload it to YouTube yourself. So if you want to tinker with it, you want to slice it up, you want to cut things out, you would need to have repurpose send it to your Dropbox directly. And you can do that automatically. So every episode can just end up in your Dropbox, and you can pick and choose the ones you want to edit. And maybe you want to upload them to other channels like maybe LinkedIn, or maybe use them as Instagram stories and stuff like that. So you'll have that MP4 file sitting in your Dropbox to do whatever you want with it.
And this would be a good point to actually show where you can transfer things from and to. So I'm going to go full screen with a screenshot, which shows the sources and destinations you can connect up. Can you just explain, sort of work through it, Hani?
Yeah, so I'm having a hard time seeing it from the back end.
Oh, right, okay.
But basically, we have what we call inputs and outputs. So inputs are basically what are you starting with? Like a Facebook Live is considered an input connection. So you take a Facebook Live and you send it to different platforms. Your input can be an audio podcast. If you're already an audio podcaster, you have a show that's already synchronized with iTunes, already on there, you can take that audio podcast and you can do cool things like make them into videos and send them off to YouTube and Facebook. So your audio podcast is another input to the system. And recently we added this option, again, customer feedback, we talked about that, where you can use Dropbox as an input. Because a lot of people have videos sitting on their computer. They've recorded these videos in conferences or whatever, or maybe 5 years ago, 3 years ago, but they're still relevant and they want to put them on YouTube, or they want to get them converted to audios. You can now use Dropbox and soon Google Drive in about 2 weeks or so, where you can say, you tell repurpose, every time you see a new video in my Dropbox, do something with it, i.e. send it to YouTube, send it to Facebook. Every time you see new audio, send it to my podcast host, convert it to a video and send that to YouTube. So you can now use basically any file you want, audio or video, that's sitting on your computer. You upload it to a specific folder and automatically will trigger a workflow inside repurpose. So those are kind of 3 inputs. Facebook, whether it's a video, live video or regular video, audio podcast, or basically a Dropbox or a Google Drive, which means essentially any video or audio file. Then the outputs is kind of the opposite. Where are you sending the data to? You can send them to YouTube. We have SoundCloud option, which is an audio platform. We obviously have Facebook. So if you want to upload videos to Facebook, for example, you have an audio podcast, want to convert to a video, you can publish that to your Facebook page or group. We have Libsyn, which is a podcast host. So this is really cool. It's basically you now have the ability to automatically take a Facebook Live, the one we've done right now, for example, and then within an hour, and automatically without you doing anything, repurpose can strip the audio out for you. It can add an intro outro if you wanted to, like an audio intro outro, and it can send it to your podcast host, Libsyn being kind of one of the most popular ones out there now. And what that means is your episode is live on the podcast world, meaning live on the iTunes directories, the Stitcher. If you submitted your podcast to Stitcher, now Spotify is getting big on podcasts.
Yeah, they are.
So and then Google has their own podcast directory. So the beauty is you send it to one. Repurpose can send it to your Libsyn or to your SoundCloud. They're both podcast platforms, or can be used as podcast platforms. And then the rest, meaning like the iTunes, all the other directories will automatically get notified. So you don't have to upload. There's no such thing as uploading to iTunes or uploading to Stitcher. All you're doing is uploading to your podcast host, and they're already connected. You kind of set it up when you set up your Libsyn account. You connect it to your Spotify and iTunes, and basically every time you upload an episode to your podcast host, all the directories get notified, which is beautiful. You don't have to do any extra work, and the content's already done for your live stream, and all of a sudden you have an audio podcast. We've integrated a platform called Binge Network, which is basically like a set-top app that runs on different devices now, and then people can consume content there. So we're constantly adding more and more integrations, or what we call output destinations. So you can send it to different places. We added Vimeo Twitter recently, and Vimeo is coming soon as well. So we're adding more and more. So you can think of it as like a little hub, like repurpose like your hub, where you can connect one platform and send it to another platform.
Right. Now, up until this a few moments ago, I've been thinking of repurpose.io as a way of taking from Facebook to lots of destinations.
Mm-hmm.
But during the shows that RJ and I do, we always come up with an idea which will either run or it won't. But my idea is this, okay? To do a promotional video.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, a short promotional video, record it on Facebook, yeah,
Mm-hmm.
2 or 3 minutes long, and then using repurpose.io, send it out to the world as an MP4 and an audio file, and your promo is going out across the whole globe.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So rather than a recording, it's actually something you've done on purpose to promote your show.
Yeah.
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 So, yeah, go. Sorry.
Honestly, that's a great idea. You can take an MP4 file and upload it to your Facebook. Upload to Facebook as a promo teaser for the show coming up, or a show you've already done. And yeah, then you can syndicate that to other platforms, to YouTube, to Twitter, to audio format using repurpose. That's a great idea. People are doing that with their audio podcasts. So we take audio podcast, we do a full episode, but now we add the ability to do audio snippets. So you can do like a short 30-second teaser, a clip from your audio podcast, and then make a little video, and then use that as almost like a teaser for what's coming. And you say, "Oh, listen to the full episode. Click here," and you can send people to your blog, or I would say to your blog, but some people send them to their iTunes to subscribe. But whatever you want, but you can do these with audio snippets. We haven't added the ability to do video snippets yet, but that's something we do have on the roadmap. So meaning, like, let's say we can take 30 seconds from this interview right now. We can take a 30-second clip and push it out to Twitter. That would be cool. We can't do that right this second automatically with repurpose, but that's something we have to be able to trim that video and then just give me this 30-second clip and use that teaser.
Well, that's it. The 30-second clips work. I mean, over on Twitch, RJ, you can actually get the 30-second clips now, can't you? Anybody can take a 30-second clip from your. Well, do you want to explain, RJ?
Yeah, I mean, yes, you can do that on Twitch, absolutely. And occasionally, I watch those. Those are a lot of fun.
Well, the thing is, with a short 30-second clip, you can actually post it out on Twitter. You can send it to Facebook. You're actually doing it as a teaser, as Hani said, that anything you can do to get the word out. But now, as I said, I'm changing my mindset about repurpose.io and thinking it as a promotion engine in terms of doing shorter form content and actually getting it out there. Anybody who's got any video on Facebook, not a show like we're doing today, but any video that they want out to move out to the world, then that can be done.
Yeah, and I tell people now, if people think I'm crazy when I say it, but then they pause for a second and then they realize what I'm trying to say. But a lot of people, when they make a video, they edit it. They have a nice piece of content. The first thought, let me put it on YouTube. I tell them, if you have repurpose, don't put it on YouTube. They're like, whoa, what do you mean don't put it on YouTube? I said, don't put it on YouTube first. Save yourself the time. Put it on your Facebook page. And then have repurpose send it to YouTube for you. Have repurpose convert it to an audio, make it into an audio podcast for you. Have repurpose, do whatever you want with it after the fact. So you don't have to upload it to Facebook and then to YouTube. So you upload it to one place, and kind of Facebook becomes your main primary place to start putting your content there. You can give a nice title, description, and then the rest will be automated through repurpose.io. So I always tell people now, kind of change your mindset a little bit. If you have repurpose, then think Facebook page first, and then let repurpose take it off to YouTube for you. Send it off to YouTube, let it maybe convert into an audio, and then we have a plugin that will make a blog post for you. So you can instantly have a YouTube video, a blog post, and an audio podcast by just uploading one video to Facebook. I have a good friend of mine who's doing that right now, and he's like, I've known him for I won't say all my life, like half my life, literally. And I've been talking about repurpose. He knows what I'm up to, and then he started using it. He's like, oh my God, why didn't I use this before? Like, what was I doing? I'm like, dude, I told you, it's so easy. You just upload a video to Facebook and that's it. He had a blog post, he had a YouTube video, and soon he's going to turn on his audio podcast. So it's a no-brainer. It's so easy. And easy in the sense that you just focus on making a good video and putting it on one place.
All good. All good.
Yeah,
All good.
And I learned something new, actually. Well, two things. One thing is, when you put videos on Facebook to your business page, you have to do it to a page. I mean, maybe people know this already, but I didn't realize this. If you have a business and you eventually want to run some Facebook ads to drive people to your business or your product or service, you can start making ads that retarget people who've watched
your video.
videos. Yeah. So it's like, whoa, okay, now I'm paying a lot less for ads, sending them to only the people that I know are interested. They've watched at least, let's say, 50% of the video of a single video. I'm like, okay, they like this topic. They might be interested in my product or service. So you can run ads to those people only, and it's a lot cheaper. You're not trying to get it to a cold audience who have no idea who you are. So anyway, but point being, I know it's kind of advanced. We're not talking about Facebook ads here, but the idea is by having a library of videos on your page, it just opens up opportunities for your business down the road if you decide to run ads later on.
It does, and then of course, if the ad to the folks that have watched your video works, if that starts turning over well, you can then have Facebook create a mirror audience, which is go please find people just like this, and let's advertise to them as well.
Yeah, opens up a new world, a really new world. Like, I've been tinkering with Facebook ads in the past few months, and it's just like, wow, the amount of, like you said, that lookalike mirror audience is amazing. Like, it's just I want people that look like this, who behave like this, and then anyway, I don't want to get into this whole Facebook ad. I'm not an expert at all, but my point was by having a video on your Facebook page, whether it's a live video or an uploaded video, having it on your page builds data, builds this video library, which allows you to retarget people in the future if that's something you want to do.
Yeah.
Well, advertising and boosting is part of promotion, isn't it? I mean, if you're doing this from your business page, then you're doing it for your business, and therefore anything that you do that gets the word out about your business is a good idea.
Absolutely. Yeah. It costs money, of course, but by doing retargeting, you're spending only on the people that you know are interested, and you're spending a lot less. So, but yeah, it is a form. Paid advertisement is a marketing strategy, and it should be. If you have a business behind it, you can't get all the free organic traffic. I mean, you'll get a good amount, you'll get an audience, people get to know you, but you will probably need to, at some point, need to invest in some kind of ad platform. But if you're doing your main shows on Facebook, then why not use the Facebook ad platform?
It's true. But there are also things that you can actually do for free. And I just want to talk about 3 areas and your ideas on this. What should people be doing before a show?
Before a show. I mean, to me, it's, you guys have more experience in doing regular shows, but for me, it's be prepared. Like, have a topic and have one topic. This is our main topic, and talk about that. Because if your show gets open-ended, you want to tell them what they're tuning in for and kind of stick to that topic. So my advice is to pick a topic, have a few key ideas, and try to stay on topic. And if the show diverts a little bit because of comments, that's perfect. But just have a topic per show, and that way you can almost think of it like a TV show, which also become like a podcast episode. Like these things can be reused if they're planned properly. Like if you plan them in a way that this episode is about this topic, that episode. And my second tip, and I'll let you guys talk after because I'm not an expert in this, is if you have a show about live video, don't have an episode about workouts and training. Like, kind of stay on your main subject, because people tune into that or subscribe to you as an audio podcast, or they follow you on Facebook for that reason, and stick with that kind of general area. A lot of people know that, but I just like to bring that up again, because some people
people expect you to be on a certain day at a certain time,
yes,
around a certain subject.
Mm-hmm.
And every Tuesday and Thursday. RJ.
Yes. Well, I'd like to expand a little bit on what Hani said. And it's perfect. Yeah. Do stay on one track. Know what your audience wants to hear. Don't, if it's a show about absolutely everything, then it's a show about nothing. And the world has already seen the show about nothing. So let's not get into that. So that's a great tip. I would also say, and I'm about to tell you a couple of things that are really smart to do that I have done before, but in no way do I do consistently, because you're looking at just one human being right here. But before show promotion, I like to make little videos on a program called Lumen 5. Super easy to make. Pick a couple of photographs, take a couple of sentences from the show description that you've already put into Be Live. Most of you, take a couple of sentences of description, a couple of photographs, pick some music, and you've got a promo video that's 30 seconds long. And putting that out beforehand with a link in the post to the show, or in my case, to your bot. That is powerful stuff. Before show promotion, also dropping that video in a lot of groups and things. When I don't do it, I by no means do it every time I do a show. I do it though when I know that particular group will respond really well to that show. So I use a lot of video to promote my show. That's really important stuff. I will pop into my group and say, hey, you guys, today we're going to do this. I think you're going to be interested in this. So I'll do live pop-ins. I'll do Lumen 5 videos before the show. I will do, when I have the time, when I've actually sat and thought about it, and have made the time, then there are all kinds of things that you can do to just get some excitement going about the next show. You'll get more people on in the seats on the live, and you'll get more people on the replay. And that's great stuff. Getting people involved in your show as well. If you can get people involved ahead of time, if you can run a contest to see how many people you can get, we can get to the show today, if it's a really important, pivotal show, those are all things that you can do before the show, along with keeping a real singular topic and one thing in mind. Those are things that you can really do to get a crowd around you.
Nice.
You did that without mentioning bots once.
Well, no, I mentioned bots. I'm no dummy.
I didn't mean that. Broadcasts.
Oh, bots for broadcasters. Oh,
Yeah.
yes. This is how great I am at self-promotion. Bots for broadcasters. We Stephen and I made a class on Udemy, and it talks about a lot of the things that you can do for if you want to use bots to promote your show. There are things that you can do before, during, and after the show. You can use bots to promote those 3 phases, and it's all in the bots for broadcasters class. I believe Stephen has a code. You can take the class for $10 if you want, and that's a really good deal because it's packed with information. We've got step-by-step stuff. We've got templates. We're hand holders, Stephen and I, and
yeah,
we won't let you down.
Indeed. And everything you need to know. If you know nothing about bots, then if you take the course, by the end of it, you will have built 3 or 4 bots and be starting to create messenger bots of your own to help promote your show and to help after the show. And it's just so good. If you, we'll give you an example if you want. If you type in FDL at the moment, as you're live watching the show, if you type FDL, I can't find the thing on the menu, but if you type FDL, I'll type it in there. Just a second. If you type FDL, you'll be taken off to a messenger bot, and you'll be given details for myself, for RJ, and for Annie, and where you can contact us, and any special offers we've got. So all you need to do is to type FDL in the comments, and you can do the same for your show and get interaction and build a rapport with people watching your show. Because one of the things that is, people can comment on your show and you can ask questions on the show, but you want to sort of engage people, don't you? That's totally important.
Yeah.
Engagement during the show. It's, if you don't have that, I know that a lot of people, just sort of bringing it back to, promotion during the show. I know that a lot of people watch the number, Be Live. If you use Be Live, has this number of how many concurrent years you have, and I know that a lot of people watch that number and all of the other numbers that are important, supposed to be important to us. And a lot of live streamers, beginning live streamers, fall off the boat because it can be discouraging those first few broadcasts, while you're building an audience, while you're getting consistency going, while you're kind of figuring out what your show's about. It can be so very discouraging. But the real important stuff, the real good stuff, is in the actual engagement. It's in the comments. It's in the people that you start to get to know. It's in acknowledging people that have taken their time out to watch your show today and leave a few comments. It's about asking them how they are. That engagement is how I measure my show's success. My show is not raging success by anybody's standards. Like I can't flip my computer on and get 1,000 people watching. I can't. Also, I don't want to. That's not really that's really not what my show's about. But I measure my show not by the number of people who are watching, but by the engagement that I get afterwards and during the show. That's how I know it's a good show. Yeah. I went off on a tangent there.
No, that's good. Tangents are good. There's nothing wrong with that.
I like what engagement, I think, is what also Facebook also likes. Like if your live stream or video or post or anything on Facebook is getting likes, is getting comments, it's just going to reappear again in the feed again, reappear in people's feed because this must be good. There's some kind of engagement. So encouraging them is a great tip. And then the bots are just going to kind of have that kind of keep that engagement going. It's not like they're going to comment and then they're not going to hear anything back. They're going to get a comment and then they're going to, engage further. So just having the bots is almost another way of encouraging engagement. And even on the replay, it's not only live, like you said. Like the live is great, but if people comment on the replay, it's like whoop, almost like I don't know the algorithm, but I always notice that the stream is over, then somebody does a comment, it kind of almost pops up again in my feed. Yeah. It's like, oh, somebody commented on this video. I'm like, oh, okay. Then I go check it out again, but it was something that would happen last week. But I'm like, oh, I must have missed it. So I mean, like, he still brings it back to life when people are engaging. But by having that, the bot, I think it's a good way to help people comment and obviously encourage them to like as well as a good one, or share, because any kind of click or comment is just good for your video on Facebook.
Well, and one of the things that I do on your product, Hani, on Repurpose, is I'll send videos to YouTube with a couple lines of description, but I want the link to the actual show, the actual Facebook Live show. I want that to be front and center for people, because when they click that link and it takes them back to the show, if they comment, I have a bot set up that will engage them.
Oh, interesting. Okay.
So no matter where I put the video, I want there to be a chance for, people to interact with the bot. And that's one thing that your product does really well, is that I can kind of set how I want that to go. And then I don't have to worry about it. And then I'm just getting, people who trip by a video on YouTube and they go, I would like to see more of this. Then they're likely to become people that I have in my bot as well, getting reminders for the show.
Nice. That's a great point.
Yeah.
Because you're every like, you almost have like your little funnel in a way. Like, you want people to engage with you mostly on Facebook, the Facebook video, but you're drawing them from other channels. So by putting on other channels, having a link in the description that says, hey, come check out, come learn more, or type this in the comments, and tell people to do that on the Facebook videos. That's your funnel. And then from the video, you have a bot. The bot leads to the next step. So that's great. Like, that's a perfect example of how putting your content on different platforms, you drive people where you want them to go. In your case, it's back to your Facebook video. Brilliant.
Well, I tell you, Repurpose makes it all happen. The day that I happened to, because Stephen had been bugging me not bugging me, but being very firm and kind and insistent that I should check the product out. I went and checked it out, and it was like, because I kind of had gotten the idea that, you can take the video and put it on here and you don't have to spend your time doing it, which is, that in itself, on the face of it, is enough to go check it out. But the fact that I can then turn this into a video product, spread it out, and an audio product and spread it out. Now we're talking. Now we can imagine funnels that are, ways to bring people to me that I hadn't had the power to do before.
That's right. Yeah. It's going to go more and more. Like, the more people come up with creative ways, the more we're going to like connect those two ways together, so that you can take, like, right now you can go to YouTube, you can go to audio. There's going to be more video platforms like Vimeo. People have been asking for Vimeo. We're kind of tinkering with Twitch a little bit to see there's a way we can get data from Twitch. There's so many other ton of platforms out there.
You've just excited Stephen. Yeah. I don't know if you knew what that sigh meant, but I know what it means.
So we're just like kind of going on what's the feedback, what do people want to see next. Definitely transcripts is one area people are pushing for, whether you're an audio podcaster or a live streamer, or you're doing both. So you can imagine getting the show transcribed and it just shows up in your Google Drive, or maybe even find a way to re-upload it to your Facebook so that Facebook has the proper transcriptions, and to your YouTube. We're trying to see if we can automate all these steps. But the point being is, like, this is, to me, I know it's been almost 2 years, but in my mind, it's like just the beginning still. Like, there's so much more. It just, we don't have the bandwidth to build it all at the same time. And so we're just prioritizing based on what people want. And so
that transcription would be absolutely amazing. Let me just, if I have your ear at this moment, that transcription would be amazing, because right now I'm sending each show off to have that done, so that then I can someday, when I have time, and I don't right now, but write a blog post out of that. Because for me, I don't like to sit on a blank screen and write something. I like to do show first, video first, and then everything comes from that. I write the blog posts. If I write one, I write it after the fact, but a transcript would be so helpful in being able to do that.
Yeah. I mean, we can send it, like, we have a way to make a blog post now, but it's going to be based on your description. But if you can maybe we can integrate it so that we can push the transcript to your blog after. I'm not quite sure, but I know transcripts are a key part.
They're huge. I'm about to start doing classes as well, like a weekly type class. And I absolutely want that transcribed. And Lottie had just said about Designer with 2 R's. If you want to check that out, folks, it is something that I'm considering buying to just get the courses and stuff transcribed, because people don't always have time to watch video. So yeah, that transcription thing is huge.
Yeah. So Designer with 2 R's, right?
Yep.
Sounds familiar. I think.
Basically, if anybody who's it lets you kind of take that transcription and flip it into a flip book, an ebook, Kindle, whatever, pretty much whatever format you want. And while that's not exactly what I would do with it, having that transcription, that's going to be major. I'm considering buying it myself just for that.
Yeah. I mean, for us, I want to say, like, we won't be offering a transcription service. I'm not sure how a Designer works, if they offer a transcription but for us, I look at it as, if you have an account with a transcription service, like Otter is a good one. I don't know if you've heard of Otter, OTTR, I think it is, or Otter.ai, I think it is. Hold on. They have a good free tier, actually, which gets you a few hundred minutes of transcriptions. Now, hold on, how do you spell that? Otter.ai. Yeah, OTTER.ai. They have an app, and they also have, I think you can do it from the web as well. They have a really good free plan, and you get, I think, 600 minutes per month.
Oh,
free transcription, and it's really good. So I've been talking with them to see if we can integrate with their service. So the point being is that we would connect your Otter account with Repurpose, and then if there's any billing involved, you wouldn't be paying us for transcriptions or anything like that. It would just go to your account, and whatever plan you're on with that account will be the middle person in the middle, sending the audios to your Otter account or to your rev.com account or whatever other transcription services. So I think that gives people flexibility to choose which one they want, how much they want to pay. If they want automated or fully cleaned up, because the costs will be a lot different.
Right.
Yeah. So yeah, it's exciting. Very exciting.
Exciting time. Now, you mentioned Twitch a moment ago, and that excited me, as RJ observed, because Facebook is one place to be, but now with BeLive.tv, you can go live on Twitch. And a few of us have been over on Twitch. It's a totally new experience. It's more relaxed, and it has a different atmosphere, but it is a way to actually go over there and do talk shows in the way that we're doing here. And at the end of it, Annie, we get a high definition recording, which is something we don't get on Facebook. And that's the major benefit, is the high definition recording, which you can then use to repurpose, because the video on Facebook is good. The video on Twitch is better.
Yeah.
And of course, the other thing about Twitch is you can actually earn money. If you reach affiliate status, then you can actually earn money. Now, at the beginning of the week, on Monday, it's been a long time since Monday. This is the 5th show of the week, and I issued an invitation to everybody to come and join us towards the end of today's show. And Cheryl has just arrived. Magic. Hello, Cheryl.
Hi, everyone.
Hello.
How are we doing? It's good to see you guys.
Yeah, good to see you too.
Good to see you. Doing good, wrapping up the last day here.
Yeah.
It's been an exciting week, and I have to catch a lot of the replay because I've been ill all week, but better every day.
Yeah.
So it's just been exciting. So much good information. I know I had such a good time yesterday on the show with Lottie, and David was there for a little bit, and it was a great time.
5 days live. It's a total party.
It is.
Yeah.
Yeah, I saw have a good question, a good comment from Lottie. I want to kind of address. She mentioned Designer has an ability to take things from Dropbox and get them transcribed, which is cool because you can send your live streams to Dropbox from Repurpose and then have it automatically transcribed. So for now, you can use, if you have Designer and Repurpose, you can kind of hook them up together. I've been talking with Paul, the founder of Designer, and
Oh, really?
I think we were talking about his idea. So I didn't realize it was ready live, the Dropbox option. We talked about how do we, we both think repurposing, right? His software is repurposing. So like, how do we kind of help each other out? And it looks like by allowing repurposed customers to send to a Dropbox, they added Dropbox integration. So they can pull from Dropbox. We essentially connected our two softwares together in a very quick way, which is really cool. Which is really, really cool.
That is cool. That's
cool. Great. That's great.
I love it every time you have an idea, Ani, because that just means that I'm going to go further in the universe. I love it. That's awesome stuff. I love the product. I since the first day, it took about 5 minutes for me to fall in love. So that's a wonderful thing to kind of think about where that's going to grow to and allow us then, because there's a lot of noise out there, to be certain, and anything that allows us to cut through that and kind of get whatever you're live streaming about, whatever your message is, anything that allows us to get heard more clearly above the noise is just a wonderful thing for all of us live streamers.
Yeah. I'll tell you a funny story, really quick. I don't know how much time we have, but if I'm running too long, feel free to cut me off. But I started listening to this podcast, and it's Frank Kern, and some of you may know him, may not know him, the internet marketer guy. Anyway, I listened to this podcast. My buddy sent me hey, he's got a podcast, check it out. And I'm listening. I'm like, after a few episodes, I realized, wait a second, these are all just Facebook Lives. I'm like, okay. But I'm like, it didn't bother me. I was like, it didn't bother me. It was great content. I was like, I don't care how he created it. But he just had an episode a few weeks ago about how he calls beast mode, which is basically getting your content on the different platforms. I was like, wow, that's literally what Repurpose does. But my point being was, I would never have known that. I'm not following him on Facebook or anything like that. I would have been missing all this content. But the fact that he had a podcast, I would listen to it a couple times a week. And all it was short 5-10 minutes. And they're mostly Facebook Lives that got converted to audio. And then it kind of forced me to, you know what, this episode was good. I'm going to jump back, find him on Facebook and watch that episode in the video format. So he caught me on the podcast side of things, but now I'm following him on Facebook and I'm watching his live stream. So it's just another example of how you can pull people in and attract an audience that would never found your show or your episode by having it on different types of platforms like the YouTubes, and more importantly, the audio podcast. Like, that's a big place to be, especially for people on the go, like who are walking, exercising, walking their dogs, driving, right? They can't watch YouTube videos. And you can put the YouTube video and play it, but it's not like a show. There's no consistency with an audio podcast. I subscribe to the show. In the morning I wake up, okay, what am I going to listen to on my walk today? Oh, new episode from Frank Kern. Click, listen. It's just there, I don't have to go find it on YouTube. So YouTube has a purpose for search. Podcasts have almost like you're building a fan base of subscribers. People who subscribe to your show will know of new episodes. So don't miss out on that. A lot of people skip that podcast step because they think it's a lot of work. And honestly, it's nothing more than signing up for a podcast platform. Libsyn is there's a ton out there, but Libsyn is the one we integrate with directly. And then you basically upload an audio file, give it a title, description, and that's it. Like, that's a podcast. It's almost like putting a video on YouTube. There's nothing more to it. The only extra stuff you have to do is kind of one-time thing and your podcast host will walk you through it, is basically you submit, they call it submitting to a directory. So you take your podcast that Libsyn produces, they give you a special link. You say, hey, go to iTunes and tell iTunes, hey, I'm applying to be in your directory so people can find me on iTunes. So one-time thing, once you do it once, you're on their directory. Then you do the same thing for Spotify and Stitcher and a few others, and then that's it. Once you have that set up, every new episode you push to your podcast host, your subscribers will just get notified using whatever app they're on. So if you're not sure about podcasting, just look into it. You read out, there's a ton of articles how to set it up. Check out Libsyn. Actually, if you use a code repurpose, you'll actually get a month free. So you can try that out as well. But more importantly is don't think audio is not important, because some people only consume audio and you're missing out on a whole new audience.
Can I ask a really quick question? Because I know we're almost there on time.
What a show. New ideas, things to do. World domination is next, RJ. We can do this.
It is, but Cheryl's question is directly next. Tell us what you have, Cheryl.
Well, my question is, and Stephen and I have been talking about this.
I'm lost Cheryl. Can you hear her?
Yeah. Can you hear me?
Oh, okay.
Okay. I'm just talking to myself here. Stephen and I've talked to him about this, that 2019, I am moving into the podcast arena because I know that that's something I need to do as well. And so my question, Hani, is when you were listening to that and thinking and realizing, oh my goodness, this is Facebook, these are Facebook Lives. Did you, was there any type of pausing or anything going on in there because maybe he was doing something visually that you couldn't tell what was going on audio, or could you tell that he really constructed that Facebook Live to pull the audio from it and be able to use it alone? Does that make sense with my question?
Yeah, no, it's a perfect question. So he would say, for those listening on the audio, you won't be able to see this, but he'll kind of walk through what he's doing.
Okay.
A lot of his content if you're doing a lot of how-to videos, it wouldn't make sense to be an audio podcast because people have to see what you're doing.
Right.
But there might be bits of time where he would refer to, this flow chart, and you can hear him typing and saying, okay, I'm adding this, but he's describing what he's doing. So I got the gist of it, but that's actually one of the videos I went back to watch because I was curious. I wanted to see the video version, so I looked him up, followed him on Facebook, and then found that video. So cause I was curious. So people, if you're doing it all the time, it might get annoying to your audience. If you're doing a lot of how-to visual stuff, pointing to your screen and talking through something on a screen, it may be annoying. But if you plan maybe certain episodes, or maybe just certain things that that are going to be good for audio, then you can maybe use only those as your podcast. So I don't recommend doing every single live as a podcast. You could if the content makes sense, but you don't have to. You can be selective and say, Monday's show is going to be podcast audio friendly, and you kind of plan that when you plan that episode. Then maybe Wednesday's show you open up to more Q&A, because nothing is the Q&A. Right? I found that he keeps the Q&A. He keeps the whole hi, good morning to very brief, like hi everyone, we're going live, and he kind of doesn't ignore the comments, but he says hi to a few people, then he gets into the content because he knows it's going to be an audio podcast. And then at the end, when all the content's delivered, then you hear him say, oh, thanks, Steve. That was a great question. Then he'll kind of interact with the comments toward the end, which is something I'm sure he's doing intentionally because he knows it's going to be an audio podcast and people don't want to hear all the highs and everything in the beginning. And at the end, after got the content, people stick around because sometimes there's good questions that people want to learn from. So if you keep that in mind when you're doing a show, if it's going to be a podcast, an audio-friendly version, then maybe restructure the flow of your show. Yeah. I hope that helps.
Sounds like you could get that done without too much work, though. Really, just being conscious of what people are going to want to hear should be able to make podcast production a part of your original live stream. I know that when I do interviews and stuff like that on my show, they'll end up on the podcast because that's a format that really works. But like has been said, I won't do a how-to. I won't do a something where I'm sharing my screen. Absolutely not. Oh man, my podcast listeners would hate that.
Yeah, and you got to know your audience. You know what works. That they're going to consume it only video, or they may consume it audio. So yeah, you'll get used to it, I think. And by planning ahead, then you know that this content, I'm going to repurpose it as an audio. I'm going to be careful not to talk or point to something or open up a website and show something there because it's going to be consumed by audio. But to be honest, biggest concern people say, oh, the audio quality on Facebook is not great. Okay, it may be okay, it may be not great, but it's not terrible. It's people can listen. I listen to podcasts, and he's doing it from the car with his headset. Like I can tell it's background noise, but me as a listener, I don't care. Like the content is good. I'm engaged. I'm learning something, and I'm enjoying it. And I don't. Me personally, as a listener, I'm sure some listeners are like, "Oh, this audio is crap. I'm not going to listen to it." But I think most people are going to be like, "Okay, this is interesting. I'm going to keep listening." So don't be discouraged if the quality is not amazing, or if you have hiccups. You know, sometimes you say, "Oh no, we're not connecting." Oh, now we're live. That's cool. It's fine. The content is more important than anything else, really.
It's real, and it's been a real pleasure. We've overrun. This is going to be a thing because we overran yesterday as well. And it's been a delight to co-host with yourself and RJ. Thank you as always. I mean, looking forward to what we can do with the knowledge that we've gained from Hani today. I mean, world domination is definitely next. Charles, thank you for jumping into the show.
Thank you.
And a big thank you to RJ and to Cheryl and to Rigetti, Lottie, Annie, Linda, Tina, David, and Angeline. Those are the 9 people who've been broadcasting you all week on 5 Days Live. We've had a blast. I've no doubt that we're going to go away and have a think and sort out when we're going to be here next. But to everybody who's watched the shows this week, I'd like to say thank you for joining in. Thank you for commenting. Thank you for liking. Thank you for sharing. Thank you for everything. And most of all, thank you to everybody who's actually been sharing knowledge with us. I've learned a lot actually producing the shows. I'm looking forward to the next one. And for the final words, I'll go to Cheryl, then Annie, and then RJ. So Cheryl, the floor is yours.
Well, I've had a great time. This is my 3rd time doing this great weekly training show with all of the great people and learning so much information. It's always exciting. So thank you everyone who's joining us live. Thank you for everyone who's catching us on the rebroadcast. And I am just excited to be part of this group and to be live streaming and now moving to podcasting. You could take it away, RJ.
Oh, all right. Well, everybody, thanks for letting us be on. Check out repurpose.io. You'll be glad that you did. I was a little bit skeptical. I didn't think that it would save me enough time to make a difference. But once I started getting in and looking at what it has what the capabilities, it was insane. And I signed up that day. So know that. And yeah, check out Messenger bots as well. It's a great thing. And Bots for Broadcasters, the class that Stephen and I did, is great stuff too. There's so many ways that you can promote your show. There's so many ways that you can get yourself out there without feeling like you're being sleazy or interrupting too much or any of those things. You can get yourself out there in a way that is filled with integrity and easy to boot. So that's all I have. Over to Hani.
Yeah, to me, it's like great to be here. Always great. I love this topic of repurposing and this topic of content creation. And my kind of final words are just focus on content, produce the best content, offer the most value to your audience, and your audience will grow. Don't worry about, these tools are meant to help you get your content out and automate things. But number one focus is always get good content. Because even if you have the terrible content and it's going on all these platforms, you're not going to grow your audience. So focus on producing the best content, what your audience wants, which is maybe something not what you want, but what your audience wants, and be consistent with it. That's kind of my final words.
Brilliant. From broadcasters around the world to viewers around the world, thank you for watching 5 Days Live this week. We'll see you again. Take care. Have an awesome weekend. From all of us here on 5 Days Live, thank you and goodbye.